Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're coming to us in your part of the world. We are very excited to have you on board tonight for what is a very, very important training. The title of the training is Stop Dieting, the secrets that the major food companies don't want you to discover. It's an emergency training for anyone seeking a massive health transformation, because some things have started to come to light, and the work that partnering with Joanna has been very enlightening for myself and obviously for the people that we have been getting access to the trainings that we've provided them, and the training that you're going to get tonight, because what Joe is going to teach you is some fundamental differences in terms of what you know and what you should be and shouldn't be doing in terms of your health that will have a dramatic impact on your life and on your family's life. And this is a really important training, so I want to make sure that you hold to the end. And just let me give you a bit of a background on Joe. We're going to hear from Joe in a couple of moments' time, but Joe's a 2 times #1 best-selling Amazon author. She's the founder of the Energy Coaching Institute, and she's a TV host. She's an international speaker on health, nutrition, and wellness. She's a qualified celebrity chef who focuses on high-performance nutrition, energy magnification. I've had her foods, so I know firsthand how good it is. And she's also been mentoring Susie as well, and Susie's a great cook as well. So I know from firsthand that they're fabulous. She's an exercise and weight loss specialist. And Joe's a leading expert featured on the digital TV show on holistic wellbeing called Healthy Me TV, and host of television show For Me ETV. Both programs are produced by Brand New Media in partnership with Channel 7 Australia and screened across the world. So Joe's also a faculty member of the CHEK Institute, which teaches holistic lifestyle coaching level 1, HLC1, across Australia, New Zealand, USA and China. Joe heads a multidisciplinary private practice, leading the way in preventative and corrective health, committed to empowering individuals to transform their way of thinking, improve personal health, achieve personal goals, and make a difference in their daily life and the lives of those they touch. As I mentioned before, Joe's a twice best-selling author of her books Rocket Fuel on a Budget and All Things Coconut. She's just co-authored her 3rd book called Stop Feeding Me Lies, which is what we're going to be probably revealing to you tonight, a lot of what the lies are. And it's due for release in March 2015, so we'd love it if you get behind it and support the release of that book. And she's currently writing her 4th book, which is Food, Mood and Your Attitude, foods that help you think, feel and perform at your best. It's a book on learning how to eat the right foods to boost your mood for life. It's due for release in mid-2015. Wow, Joe, I'm so surprised you even have time to run this webinar tonight with all that stuff going on in your life.
I don't sleep.
You don't sleep. Sleep's overrated.
I'm just kidding. It's a key principle of what I'm going to teach. So it's the fact that I do get my sleep that I'm able to churn out such great work.
Well, that's fantastic. So, and that pretty much leads into, it's such a great introduction, and it gives everyone a foundation about who you're going to be hearing from tonight. And I firsthand had an experience of learning from Joe and understanding the principles that she spent the last 15 years really refining and developing, and she's modeled this up into a series of information products that you can get access to via her books or online coaching programs. And so it leads me into what we're going to be going through tonight. So tonight, you're going to learn about a case study. You're going to discover how a mum of 3 carrying 15 kilos of unwanted residual post-pregnancy weight with chronic tiredness, juggling a busy work and family schedule, applied only 70% of this holistic program and in 6 weeks lost 8 kilos. So give me a big wow if that blows your mind. Wow. Yep, wow, wow. Okay, everyone's dumping the wow. Everybody is awake. Fantastic. Thanks for your participation. Today you're also going to discover the single secret that's going to stop you from ever dieting again. we're going to reveal a practical tip that's helped thousands of people to radically increase their energy levels. You're going to want to apply this immediately and see the instant effects it has on you. Joe's also going to show you how to identify foods that match yours and your family's unique needs. Plus, you're also going to discover how exercise can make you fat and what you can do to avoid this. And finally, at the end of the training, Joe is going to reveal a game-changing strategy that will finally rid yourself and your family of pain and allergies forever, even if you've completely failed before. And all this without ever having to count calories, weigh food, or working out for hours at a time on the treadmill. So give me a big yes in the chat box if you're ready to make a massive health breakthrough for you and your family without ever having to count calories, spend hours in the kitchen, or hours doing mindless cardio. Give me a big yes in the chat box, please. Okay, excellent. Yes, 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 exclamation mark 3 times. Yes, hell yes. I've got a hell yes in here. Okay, fantastic. Everybody's awake and they are here to participate. That's fantastic. Excellent. All right, great. I'm glad to see that you're all contributing. So before we get started, you need to know there's a reason why you may have tried to change yours and your family's health and have failed up until this point. The major food companies, fast food outlets, and weight loss products aren't focused on your health. They're focused on convenience, taste, and immediate gratification so that they get you hooked and keep you coming back for more. The processed food industry is a profit and shareholder driven and focuses on convenience rather than health. The average person gains 5 pounds for every diet they attempt. Why do you think that is? I just want to see some comments in the chat box. Why do you think the average person will gain weight after they've gone on a diet? Okay, there's an answer coming in. All right, so because they stop dieting and then they go back to their old ways. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Well, so the real answer is most weight loss programs are designed to cut down on your calorie consumption, so you lose a combination of muscle and fat. Once you've completed the weight loss program, you regain the weight, but this time you've replaced that muscle with all fat. So in other words, you're putting on more fat. See, short-term weight loss programs that cut down on calories are designed to keep you coming back. It's all about money. A really interesting point that drives this home is, did you know that gross sales of weight loss products exceeded $245 billion last year? I just want to let you simmer on that and let that information just drop in. It's a huge number. In his new book, Salt, Sugar, Fat, Pulitzer Prize-winning New York Times investigative reporter Michael Moss, he takes us on a tour of the $1 trillion processed food industry in the United States. Now, you may be thinking I'm an Australian, or you may be thinking I'm in a different part of the world to the United States, but this is a great representation of the rest of the world. We're all experiencing the same issues, and we're all influenced by the same companies. See, some of the world's leading and most recognizable companies and brands have made it their business to profit from making you hooked to their food, making it easier and convenient to access their food. These companies include Kraft, Coca-Cola, Kellogg's, Nestle, Oreo, and many, many more. Michael Moss takes us inside the labs where the food scientists use cutting-edge technology to calculate the bliss point of sugary beverages or enhance what he calls the mouthfeel of fat by manipulating its chemical structure. He unearths marketing campaigns designed in a technique adapted from tobacco companies to redirect concerns about the health risks of their products. Dial back on one ingredient, they pump up another 2, and tout the new line as fat-free or low salt. He talks to concerned executives in his book, And he writes about this, and they confess that they could never truly provide a healthy alternative to their products, even if serious regulation became a reality. So to put it bluntly, the industry itself would cease to exist without salt, sugar and fat. So after all his research, and when asked, can processed foods be considered addictive? Michael's reply was, that's the one single word that the food industry hates, is the word addiction. They much prefer to use words like craveability and allure. Some of the top scientists who are very knowledgeable about addiction in the country are very convinced that for some people, the most highly sugared, high-fat foods are every bit as addictive as some narcotics. Sugar uses the same neurological pathways as narcotic to hit the pleasure center of the brain that send out the signals, eat more, eat more. That said, the food industry defends itself by saying true narcotic addiction has certain technical thresholds that you just don't find in food addiction. And really to emphasize this point, what you've got right now on your screen is the normal brain function of a human being in the top left-hand corner. And what this is the red is high dopamine levels. So this is a normal brain function with high dopamine. Now, dopamine is the pleasure or the interest pleasure center of the brain. And then what we've got below it on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen is the brain of a cocaine user. Now, what you'd notice is there is no red. There's no dopamine levels in this cocaine addicted person's brain. So they've got no dopamine levels. And then when you go over to the top right-hand figure, this is the brain of an obese person. And you'll notice that there are virtually no red dopamine levels in the brain of the obese person because it has the same effect that cocaine does. It is that addictive. And just to really drive home that point is down the bottom right-hand side, we've got the brain of an alcoholic. And you'll notice that the alcoholic still has more dopamine levels than an obese person. Now that is a massive, massive wake-up call. And for me, it was a huge wake-up call being a father and thinking about my children and the food that I give them. So with that in mind, and with the introduction that I gave you, who would like to hear from our expert author, the lady of the evening, Jo Rushton? Give me a big yes in the chat box. Give her a big welcome, folks. Give her a big welcome, please. Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, they're awake. Okay, excellent. We're getting a good response, Jo. Fantastic. Okay.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, and good evening, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I'm really excited to be sharing with you some really cool information over the next 30, 35, 40 minutes. You know, just to recap on that point you were making about sugar, Jamie, there's an amazing doctor. She's a pharmacologist. In fact, unfortunately for us, she passed away last year. Her name is Dr. Candice Pert, and she, in her time, was a true pioneer in the mind-body connection. And she actually discovered the opiate receptor center of the brain that you're talking about, the pleasure center of the brain. And, you know, her work, she achieved a Nobel Prize for her work. And in one of her books called Molecules of Emotion, she actually references sugar to be a Class A drug. And in doing so, she actually, in her book, talks about sugar not just as a Class A drug, but being as equally, if not more, addictive than cocaine. So, you know, that qualifies exactly what you were just talking about. And in most recent studies, they've done research on control groups of rats where they have taken a group of rats and put them in a controlled environment and made available to them only sugar and cocaine. And what it showed was that out of those two, you know, drugs, we'll call them drugs,
Mm-hmm.
that the rats actually went and chose the sugar over the cocaine. And then they did a separate study on another group of rats that they had already induced a cocaine addiction with. And they put that group of rats, which were already addicted to cocaine, again in a controlled environment where all they had to choose was sugar or cocaine, and they actually moved away from the cocaine and started to choose the sugar over the cocaine. So, I think that, sugar is becoming the new fat, and it is the #1 addictive ingredients in food. The majority of my clients are mums, and I'm always working with them on how to address things like fussy eating, and eating behaviors of their young children, and of course, more importantly, the sugar addictions that the mothers are becoming more and more aware of, because of the foods that are being made available to them. So I want to address a little bit more of that as we go through, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of a quick little background just so that you can kind of connect to what I've done and where I've been. I spent the first 12 years of my career as a chef, and I came straight out of college and went to chefing school, and I had a great passion for food. But back then, food for me was very much about how it looked and how it tasted, as opposed to really being interested in the nutritional value and how food can actually be used as our medicine to not just nourish us, but even heal us. And, so I moved from, I had 12 years in the catering industry, and I moved from the catering industry about 15 years ago into the health and wellness industry. And that was again for the fact that my passion for catering started to dwindle, and I was just honoring my path as it needed to develop. And as I got into a career in health and wellness, I first entered the industry as a personal trainer. And as a personal trainer, in my own pursuit, oh my goodness, those photographs, they take me back.
It's one I got from the vault.
Yeah, no kidding. Thank you for that. Okay, so, this was part of my personal pursuit for health, fitness and self-confidence. And, this path, interestingly enough, as much as I competed in natural body sculpturing for 3 years, and I was successful. I've got some great fond memories of this time, and some also not so fond memories. And, one of the key things that I want to share with you here is that, looks can be deceiving. I actually found I was far healthier, before I pursued what I felt was the path of health and fitness. And in hindsight, I came out of 3 years of pursuing health and an element of athletic performance through this particular sport, and I actually came out the other side more unhealthy than I went in, which is kind of scary considering, I thought back then that that was the path that was actually going to create health, build a body that was going to have vitality and longevity, and, create a sense of self-confidence for myself. And in actual fact, after the 3 years where I was left after that journey in the pursuit of health and wellness, I was actually left with irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut, chronic fatigue, food intolerances, joint pain. In fact, a lot of things that I've noticed people have already started to share in the forum that we created as part of joining in for this webinar. What I could say about my experience is that it's taught me everything I've needed to know about how not to train the body and how not to care for it. And for that reason, I am incredibly grateful for the journey, and it was at this point that was my lowest point of being in so much pain. I had, there's a period where I was literally bouncing from doctor to doctor, physician to physician, specialist to specialist, and I was having tests done for, you know, my bowel issues, and tests run for absorption issues and mineral deficiencies. And, you know, at the very best with what I was prescribed, whether it was a drug for this or, you know, medication for this symptom, when I was on them, my symptoms would be relieved. The moment I tried to wean myself off, they would come back. And it was at this point that I realized that, you know, something had to change, otherwise everything was going to stay the same. It was going to be Groundhog Day until I went to the grave, and that was just not how I wanted to live my life. And so, you know, I came to this point in my life that I realized I had to take back some control and some responsibility, and I had to start becoming accountable for, you know, what my choices were creating for me. And it was at this point that a colleague introduced me to a guy called Paul Chek, who is still today, you know, one of my most dear friends and mentors. He's actually the founder of the Chek Institute, and he's an internationally renowned holistic health practitioner. And he travels around the world teaching professionals within the health and fitness industry as well as the general public. And over the years of my own training with him and my own dedication to his teachings, he actually invited me a couple of years ago to become a faculty member and to actually start teaching Holistic Lifestyle Coaching Level 1, which I now love. It's a 3-day course, and I have to say that, you know, when I'm teaching that, I really am in my element and doing what I love the most. And it really has been everything that I have needed to embrace in order to change my experience and to, you know, reclaim my own health. But, you know, for a lot of people, the question is, you know, why hasn't it worked up to now for them? You know, there are, you know, why do most diets and health programs not work? Well, firstly, you know, unfortunately, there is no money to be made in getting you health and fit, you know, health and fit and healthy. You know, the industry, at the end of the day, as Jamie said earlier, the industry is designed based on a profit and, you know, profit sharing market. And so the reality of there being any money truly to be made in creating lasting health for you is one of the key flaws to begin with. You know, they give you the tools and the recommendations that, you know, at best give you some partial results, but never give you the full picture because they need you coming back for more. You know, and that's, you know, one of the fundamental flaws is in what we are led to believe that it takes to building lasting health and vitality. And some of these fundamental flaws are what I actually want to share with you tonight. And, you know, one of the biggest fundamental flaws in dietary recommendations out there is that the common diet recommendation offered to you is literally a one-fits-all approach to health and weight loss. Okay? No matter which diet it is, they all claim that this is the one. Whether it's the Atkins, whether it's the Paleo way, you know, whether it's the South Beach, no matter what diet is recommended to you, you're kind of sold on the fact that this is the one that's going to get the results. Finally, you found the secret solution or formula, and this is the one that's going to get you the results. But the key flaw in this is that none of these recommendations are designed to teach you what your nutritional philosophy actually works for you. In other words, how do you need to approach nutrition in order to meet your own unique needs? Because you are unique, everybody is unique from the outside back into the inside. What creates your uniqueness on the outside, your hair color, your eyes, your complexion, that uniqueness that presents from you on the outside is equally unique on the inside. So for example, your biochemistry and how your biochemistry responds to certain foods is completely unique to you, which is literally why one man's food can be another man's poison. So in order for you to even begin to get the lasting results you want, you need to start to understand what your unique needs are, or as I call them, what your unique fuel mix is that creates hormonal and metabolic balance, which is absolutely fundamental for optimal health. So that's your first key flaw in the majority of the programs offered to you out there. The second is that exercise is often focused on as a priority rather than a healthy adjunct to your lifestyle. So most people are out there, you know, pounding the treadmills or, you know, lifting heavy weights in a gym, and they don't realize that they're actually putting more stress on an already overloaded system, which actually increases the body's stress hormones, suppressing the immune system, creating hormonal imbalances, and encouraging fat to be stored, not lost. I can't tell you how many, especially females, I've helped to not just lose weight, but overcome some serious health issues and even fall pregnant just by simply changing their approach to exercise. It's an absolute fundamental flaw of this one-fits-all approach to cardio as a health and fitness outcome. And I really want to preface that tonight, because doing too much exercise or overtraining, over-exercise will put on weight. Okay, it sets you up into a stress response where the body actually becomes very efficient at storing fat and not efficient at burning fat. So then another one of the flaws out there that I want to share with you is, you know, skipping meals. I mean, okay, the 5-2 is one of the latest, you know, fad diets out there, you know, claims that it will get all the results you want, strip you of the fat, excess weight that you want. But my key question to you is it teaching the principles that it's going to give you lasting results? Is it teaching you the principles that you need to know around nutrition and how your body uniquely works for you, so that long term you're able to maintain those results? Because, you know, skipping meals is one of the fastest ways to deplete your serotonin levels, whilst it also promotes weight gain. And I can't tell you how many mums, yet again, I work with a lot of mums and families, and I can't tell you how many mums struggle to get a balanced breakfast, you know, or knows what to put into their kids' lunchbox so that they're getting the real brain food they need in order to, you know, support the consistency that we're needing for attention and energy in a learning environment. And the thing is, it's not that hard. When you know the fundamentals and you're willing to commit to being consistent, then, you know, it's not that hard. It becomes really easy. And you know what? When it comes to the diet shakes and all the empty promises of these, you know, diet shakes and protein powders, honestly, please don't get me started on them, because there's so much I could say about the nutrient deficiency of protein powders. I used them myself for 3 years. They are part and parcel of what created my irritable bowel issue. They are part and parcel of what created a leaky gut for me. Okay, so, you know, you want to come up against the guidelines around, you know, healthy choices and a healthy intake of protein in the body. You're not getting it through these hydrolyzed processed protein powders. And depending on how much time I have left at the end, because I have to watch my time, I have a tendency to get passionate, and you know, I can, you know, it's my job is to coach and share with you, and sometimes I can just do so and time flies. So just be careful about the, you know, likewise with the dieting pills. You know, I want to ask everybody on the call right now, be honest, and Jamie will tell me who's putting their hand up. Is there any one of you that is currently, you know, either has been, tried a diet, or is currently on some form of diet. And I'm going to qualify what does the word dieting actually mean. Okay? So it's any form of eating regime that is unsustainable in the long term by that individual. Okay, calorie reductions is just one example of that. Skipping meals is another example of that.
So we're getting some yeses here.
Extreme low carb, high fat. Awesome.
Excellent.
Okay, so there's a few people out there that
getting some yeses.
know what I'm talking about here. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, they're answering that. And we're not going to name and shame, by the way. We're not going to name and shame anybody. It's okay to be honest here. You're all safe.
No, we don't do that. We're a safe environment here. I made a note of a couple of, probably the most common known diets that are, around there, out there at the moment. And as I said, the latest is the 5-2 diet. And, the juicing diet always seems to come up with my clients and always asking me, what about, a juicing fast, or, where's the Atkins low carb, high fat these days, or worse still, the high carb and the low fat. And then you've got the blood type, and then you've got, of course, your vegetarians and your vegans out there, drumming the beat of, no animal products. And then you've got the extreme opposite of that, and you've got the paleo way. And, we know that Pete Evans is out there, really beating the drum of the paleo way, which has, like all of these different diets, they have their good and their bad aspects. But what I want to share with you is what is it that you need to know in order to take the best of all of those recommendations within each of those different diets and take what is best for you, because it is going to help you to meet your unique requirements. That's what it's about, understanding what your unique formula is. So in that case, we've established what doesn't work. Okay, I've given you a few key fundamental flaws there in the industry that have left us still wanting the results and still coming back for more and still trying for more. So now I want to give you 5 strategies that have been proven to work over and over and over again. How do I know? Because I use them with my clients in my clinic every day. And I am a very results-driven coach, and if I'm not getting the results, I'm wanting to know why. And I am open-minded and flexible enough to look at what it is I'm prescribing or suggesting or recommending and understanding why it's not working for that individual and what needs to be tweaked to meet that unique individual's requirements. So earlier Jamie mentioned that we had a case study, and this was one of my personal clients who came to me, and yes, she was overweight, still holding onto a lot of the weight from post-pregnancy. And she adopted I offer obviously customized programs for my clients, but she adopted about 30% of my recommendations that I wrote for her in her customized program. Now, in that program, I had included the 5 strategies that I'm going to go over with you now, okay? But she only actually took on or actioned 2 out of those 5 strategies, okay? So just bear in mind right now that she only took on board strategy number 1 and number 3 in the first 6 weeks, and yet she still got some amazing results. So my key question there is, imagine what she would have got if she applied all 5 strategies. Okay, and I'm going to share those 5 strategies with you now. So the very first one that is a fundamental understanding is to start to identify what your unique fuel mix is. Okay, and not just identify what yours is, but also what your unique fuel mix is of the various members of your family. Because, unless you're a single person, which if you are, that's perfect, you only have yourself to worry about, and you only have yourself to be responsible for. But if you're a mum and a dad, then, you're now living within what I call the allness of who you are, because, came together and you've created a beautiful family, which means now that there is a mixture of different unique requirements within that same family. So, I mean, let me explain this a little bit further so you have a bit more understanding of where I'm coming from, because I know for a lot of people it's a concept that is very new. Okay? So biologically speaking, human beings, we have spent potentially millions of years evolving on the planet. And during that time, our survival has generally been dependent upon the availability of macronutrients, okay, known as protein, fats, and carbohydrate. What's really important, though, is that the type of protein, fats, and carbohydrates, the type of nutrients, and its availability has varied both geographically and seasonally to us as human beings as we've evolved. So as you look around the equator, geographically, the foods that are available in one part of the world aren't naturally available in another. And I know now we obviously have transportation, and you can literally go to any country and get any food that is naturally primitive or naturally grown in any other country. Okay, but if we take ourselves back, just a couple of hundred years, when transportation and export-import wasn't around, we evolved at a genetic level. Okay, our genes have been influenced genetically by our environment around us, by the soils that grow the food to the foods that are actually available. So for example, if you're up in North Scotland where the ground freezes for a good 6 months of the year, there's no growing of any great deal of plant material there. So people that are ethnically or their heritage comes from that part of the world, from a heritage perspective, their unique biochemical individuality has been developed by the influences of the foods naturally available to them in that region. And now what we have today is like a melting pot, because you might have been born in Scotland, but now live in Australia. Like I was born in London and I now live in Australia. So the key message that I want to share with you here is that your gene has what we call a genotype and a phenotype. I'm going to keep this really as simple as I possibly can. Okay? So imagine the genotype of your gene is the hardwire. It can't be changed. Okay? If you have two twins and they look the same, that's the hardwiring of their genetic expression. Then you have the phenotype. And the phenotype refers to the aspects of the gene that can be considered relatively hardwired, yet it has the ability to range or change in its expression. So let me give you an example of that in regards to food. So consider your three macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs, as the hardwiring of a diet. Okay? A diet doesn't exist unless you have protein, fat, and carbohydrate. So that's the hardwire. That's the genotype aspect of food. But then you have the phenotype aspect of food, which is the fact that each of the protein, fats, and carbs are going to express themselves and interact in your body completely differently to how they interact and express themselves in my body. And that's the fundamental teaching right here, is that the type of protein, fats, and carbohydrates and the ratio in which you consume them is unique to you. There is no one fits all. And when I say one man's food is another man's poison, I completely mean it. You can go, one person can go, and I've had clients that have come to me that have done the paleo way as an example. And as a result, their cholesterol levels have gone through the roof. Other key nutrient markers have become dysregulated and out of balance because they have gone and eaten too far away from what their unique needs are. They are now following an extreme form that is, high animal-based products and very low carbohydrate-based products. Now, for some people, they do really well on it. And for others, they don't. It doesn't make the diet right or wrong. It just identifies the fact that you are uniquely you. And therefore, you need to understand what your unique formula is, and there is a process to finding that out. So the second strategy that I want to share with you, and I've already spoken somewhat to it already, and that is the working in and the working out. It's a phrase that's been coined by Paul Chek, who I mentioned to you earlier. And what it does is it questions your readiness to expending energy. Okay, we all know the physiological and psychological benefits of exercise. However, exercise in most people's minds means to exert themselves through movement. But the thing is, they often do that at the cost of energy that they don't actually have in reserve to give. Cardio is a really good example of this. It's one of the most popular forms of exercise when it comes to burning fat. However, it's by far not the most efficient way of going about trying to burn fat. So the key understanding here that I want you to realize is that to the degree in which you are tired, fatigued, you're not getting an optimal response from your exercise program. In fact, as I've shared with you before, most of my female clients that are trying to use exercise as a tool to losing weight are actually overtraining, sending themselves further into an energy deficit, further into a stress response, which is causing their metabolism to slow down and actually store fat, not burn fat. So being able to identify whether or not you're actually needing a work-in versus a work-out is crucial in the path of you being able to achieve the results long-term. An example of a work-in is still using movement, it's still using exercise, but it's using it in a way that actually cultivates and generates energy and prepares you for the capacity to work out and expend energy. A really good example of this are things like restorative yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong or going for a meditative walk. These are all examples of what a work-in is. And you can start to customize those to your unique needs if you just learn to listen to a few things that your body is always communicating to you. Okay, and there's a few ways in which you can do that. So the third strategy, so if you remember, my case study focused on the first and the third strategy. So all she did was get really honed and tuned in, switched on and turned on as to what her unique fuel mix was, and started to change her choices and her meal plans and her shopping in accordance to exactly that. And the other thing that she did was made a commitment to take sugar out of the diet. Now, I'm going to qualify what I mean, first of all, by sugar, because again, it would be inappropriate for me just to label all sugar as being bad. Okay? But, we've touched on its addictive natures of refined sugars already. But the fact is, it was almost non-existent in the diet of most people up until recently. And, the overconsumption of sugar today not only contributes but drives current obesity epidemics that, we're experiencing today. Just by reducing your added sugar intake, which should be at the top of your list, okay, regardless of what you're currently, whether you're overweight or not. And why? It's because it's been proven over and over and over again that sugar increases your insulin levels, which can lead you to high blood pressure, high cholesterol, insulin resistance and diabetes, heart disease, weight gain, and of course, premature aging. which we don't think about at the time when we're enjoying the addicted, pleasure centers of the brain is taking on all of this, lovely, sweet, what becomes later on misery. And the key thing that I want to share with you here is that it's the added sugar we have to worry about. Sugar in its natural form, when it comes with fruit and it comes with the whole complete nutrients of that fruit, sugar is perfect. In fact, sugar is the body's natural or preferred source of energy. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's the most efficient form of energy. And where we fall into problems is when our sugar intake is either in excess or taken in through what I call added sugars. And that's where one of the biggest problems is through the added sugars of today, which can be defined by whether or not you're adding it in the cooking process or when you're at the table, or as most of it occurs through the plants, through the processing plants of food. Okay, so the key takeaway here is to really start to see where your added sugars are coming into your diet and take them out. Read the labels. If it's up there at the top, then it's what is in that food the most. Okay, so whatever's written on a label, whatever's written first, and in that order, reflects what is in that product the most. So if sugar is, number 2 or number 3 out of 7 or 8 ingredients, it is up there as being one of the highest contents on that food. I want to just touch very quickly on strategy number 4, because I can't not mention the importance of your hormones. And how do you know if your hormones are balanced? Well, essentially, if you're living a life that you've got high levels of vitality and you've got great levels of physical, mental energy, and you've got good balanced moods, and you're able to maintain good adequate weight, and you've got a strong immune system, and life's just great, then chances are you've got balanced hormones. But if you don't experience any of those things, and as with, most of my clients are coming to me with a number of different ailments that are quite the opposite, then one of the key things I look at are, how balanced your hormones are. And some of the key hormones that I look at are estrogen levels, and whether or not, especially for females, but males as well, I look at whether or not there is an estrogen dominance, because if there is, then there's an increased susceptibility to putting on weight and holding weight. Equally, the insulin, okay, which is also a hormone. So we talk a lot about balancing blood sugar levels. Well, if you have an insulin sensitivity, then your ability to balance your blood sugar levels depletes, and you become more susceptible again towards diabetes. Cortisol is another hormone, which again, if you are overtraining and not getting the right food on board, not learning how to manage your lifestyle stresses, the things that become key stresses to you on a daily basis, on a day-to-day basis, then your cortisol levels are going to be what we call chronically high. It's when they're chronically high and sustained at those levels that the body starts to become what I call catabolic, and it starts to break down at a cellular level. So looking at your cortisol levels. Of course, your thyroid is also equally as important, the thyroid stimulating hormone, and all of the things that I just addressed affect how well your thyroid functions, as do your leptin resistance. So leptin is, again, another hormone produced by your fat cells, and its primary function is to regulate appetite and energy expenditure. Now, in normal levels, when the fat cells, when your fat stores are full, then extra fat will cause an increase in your leptin levels, signaling the brain to stop you feeling hungry, so you stop eating. But when this isn't correctly balanced, you don't get that brain message. And then I'm sure I've mentioned to you earlier the importance of things like serotonin, and there are some key brain neurotransmitters, or as we call them, hormones, that are vital for good mood and clear thinking. Things like serotonin, that it's known as the happy hormone. It regulates appetite and also our sleep. If you don't have sufficient enough serotonin, then your levels of melatonin are going to be low, and melatonin is required for good quality sleep. So it's a rippling effect throughout the whole hormonal system. Okay, so the last strategy I want to share with you, and it's by far, I believe, for long-term adherence and long-term sustainable results, one of the most important, and that is to get really clear on your why. Okay? Simon Sinek says it doesn't matter what you do, it matters why you do it. What do you love enough to change for? Okay? Finding something that inspires you enough, a big enough reason for you to make these changes, because we know that as simple as these changes are, they're not always easy. And therefore you need a big enough reason to ground yourself to, so that when the going gets tough, you can remind yourself of why you're doing this. And that why needs to be more than just the achieving of better health. Your why is more about what are you going to do once you've lost the weight, you feel more confident and comfortable, and you've got more energy and you've got more vitality. What then? That's what your real why is connected to. So have a think about that, because most people's why for getting onto any form of exercise or dietary routine is normally just to lose weight. But once you've lost weight, what then? You have to keep qualifying your why so that you maintain the results. So you can quite literally rid yourself and your family of pain and allergy. Okay, and it is possible to do this forever. There are ways. Okay, so the big question is, if I'm sharing with you, there are some genuine ways, some fundamental principles that can help you and your family claim the health and vitality that you're wanting, that you're looking for, then what is holding you back? That's the big number one question. Okay? Yes, it's hard to change our habits because we're working with lifestyle, habitual habits that you might have been doing for years. And so therefore it takes, time, and it takes commitment. It's not always easy. Okay? But, one of the key things that I've come across is that more often than not, it's because people lack a coherent, consistent plan to follow. Something that is clear, specific, tailored to their unique needs, and is simple to follow. Because the bottom line is, it's small changes that get big results. Okay? More often than not, when there's a big problem, do we or don't we try and look for a solution that equals the bigness of the problem? When in actual fact, it can be something really simple that addresses what appears to be a big problem. The fact that you've probably got questions that come up for you, and when you're out there doing it on your own, you don't have somebody answering those questions. And that can be another reason why things haven't worked for you. Okay, you're needing support, you're needing somebody to hold your hand through a process that, if you do it consistently enough, will get the lasting results that you're after. So I have a big question for you now, and that is, who is ready to make a change in their life? Who is ready to start making some simple, small steps for some massive outcomes? Who is ready to start learning what they need to focus on, and what, if they focused on the absolute priority, and more importantly, learn how to do the least they have to do to get the most out? Because if you're like me, you live a busy life, and the thought of anything else going on that to-do list is already just overwhelming at the thought of it.
It's so true.
Okay? And that's, Jamie, I just, when it comes to wanting to do more, sometimes it becomes so overwhelming, yet the 5 strategies I've just shared with people, believe it or not, are incorporated in what they're already doing. So it's not asking you to do anything new in terms of anything more. It's just what you're already doing, we're going to look to ask you to do things slightly differently to get a bigger and better outcome. What do you reckon?
That's key. Absolutely. I mean, I've heard it. I've heard you talk about these principles before, and every time I hear them, they're just completely. I get a bit of distinction around those 5 principles, and as you say, it can easily be implemented into somebody's life just with some minor adjustments with what they're already doing, can't it? Yeah. So give me a big yes if you understand how what Joe has just talked about today can guarantee that you rapidly lose weight, you live a healthy, allergy and pain-free life. So give me a big yes in the chat box. Those of you that are still with us in attendance, give me a big yes. Okay, yes, I've got a big yes. Okay, the chat box is moving now. Everybody's there. They're saying yes. They are ready. So I want to ask you, who is ready for it? Who is absolutely ready for it? I'm not talking about next month, or I'm not talking about next year. I'm talking about this week and throughout this month. Who is ready? Give me a big yes in the chat box again. Give me a big yes. Absolutely. So who here is ready to finally take control of their health and the health of their family and to live the life they truly desire and deserve? We're going to put on 4 mega health sessions starting next week that will hold you by the hand and practically force you into making the massive change. This training is absolutely critical to your success, and you're only going to pay for it if you're completely blown away. So I want you to take a look at this. Please just give me a few moments of your time so I can make you a very, very special offer. Is that okay with you? Give me a big yes in the chat box. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, yep, I'm getting a lot. Okay, fantastic. Okay, thank you for everybody's participation. Hell yes, absolutely, yes, yes. Okay, it's moving now, Joe. You've obviously done a really, really great job. So let me share with you what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. I know it's a bit crazy, but we're committed to doing this, and we're going to change a lot of lives in the process. Plus, we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So we're committed. What we've got for you is 31 days of HD video daily training with PDF handouts, daily emails to keep you on track so that you can commit and be held accountable to the program so that you finally take control of yours and your family's health. Just imagine knowing what it's like to feel confident that you are completely taking care of your family's health and you have the correct knowledge that will prevent illness and disease for your children forever. And you're guaranteed of losing those extra kilos you've been struggling to use for years so you can finally feel confident, sexy and energetic to do the things that you've been missing out on. Joe outlines in absolute detail what you should be doing each day in quick and easily consumable training so that you can review and implement rapidly with little disruption to your busy life. Even if you have a family, a business, and are a single mum, we guarantee you'll be able to implement this in your life. We'll be running 4 live webinars answering your every question about nutrition, exercise, and everything health related. This is a special live Q&A with our best-selling author and our health expert, Jo Rushton, where she's going to reveal the fastest ways for you to get rapid results, lose weight, get healthy, and do it all safely in the next 4 weeks, regardless of your previous dieting or health-related issues. See, it's like getting a personal consult with Joanna Rushton, our best-selling published author and health and healing consultant, without the high price tag. You can do this from the comfort of your home, which is convenient, and you can keep it a secret until you've finally got the results you've been trying to do and trying to achieve for years. You'll also be joining the Inner Circle of Joanna Rushton, which is exclusive, and you get our personal VIP care in your very own private Facebook group. You'll get all your questions answered, and you can achieve yours and your family's health goals faster. and you'll be joining a community of like-minded people who are all achieving rapid and sustainable results together. See, I'm going to empower you, and I'm going to make you a very special offer you won't be able to refuse, because you and only you are going to decide whether what I've got for you is worth the money you're about to spend. In other words, you will decide after you've enjoyed our training. You will decide if we deserve to be paid for the training. That is it. There's no catches. So you decide if we deserve to be paid. You only need to decide after you've gone through week 1 and after you've heard mega session number 1. If you're not completely blown away, then you don't need to pay a cent more than the $1 hold your seat fee we're talking about today. But just a word of warning, you will be blown away. You will not believe that we would give away the bonuses that you'll get on this training. The chance that you will not continue are absolutely slim. So secure your seat for $1. I'm just charging $1 because I need you to secure your seat on the live training and coaching call next week. And I have no way of securing that seat without you putting down a symbolic amount of money. You also get to join us in the VIP room, access your training, and get coaching on our mega session so you can start achieving your results right now. If you decide that what we give you is worth 10 times your investment, then you don't have to do anything, and you'll be charged 3 easy payments of just $98, and they're all spaced out 7 days apart. Again, you will decide if you go down this path. If you feel that we under-deliver and that what we gave you is not worth $1,000 plus, just let us know, and we'll make sure you don't get charged. It's that simple. So this is probably going to go very fast. That $1 charge is an irreversible fee, and it's only used to secure your seat. If you are not blown away and you do not believe that a transformation has happened to you on the training and that what Joe and I have shared with you is not going to transform your 2015, you can sit through the entire first week's modules plus the Mega Live training session. Then you can simply ask for the link and you will not be billed. But you get to decide. If you go through the training and the mega session and you aren't blown away, then we will not charge you. Simple. And as I mentioned, if you remain, you will get access to session number 2, plus a $5,000 unadvertised gift that is absolutely going to blow you away. We're only going to be opening up 100 spots today. And once they're filled, we'll be closing this intake. The first live training will be held in 6 days' time. That is this week coming. So this is probably going to go very fast. We're only opening up 100 seats, as I said, and this is going to get swallowed up very, very fast. So get ready for the URL because it's going to go really, really quickly. Are you ready? Here we go. Go right over right now to getyournewlife.com. Getyournewlife.com. Once you get over to that page, there is a description of the program that's on that page. Scroll right to the bottom very quickly because I do not want you to miss out. Click on the button at the bottom of the page and commit to the $1 to secure your seat. That will mean you've locked in your position for the live training that's coming up next week. But go over now, come back here and type I'm in the chat box as soon as you've made that payment to secure your seat for next week's training. So come back and type I'm in the chat box once you've done. Okay? Okay, so I'm opening up to questions now. If anybody's got any questions about the training, about the live session, about anything, please submit those questions in whilst people are going across to that page. It does take some time. If you experience any problems, any issues whatsoever, make sure you come back here and punch it into the chat box and let us know what's going on so that we can address it as quickly as possible. So that is getyournewlife.com. Okay, so we are filling up. Okay, so we are having people that are moving over there. I can see that people are processing some payments now already. Okay. All right, excellent, fantastic. All right, we've got a few people. So this is not going to last that long, folks. And once we're full, we are full. We may open it up at a later date, but for now, once those 100 positions, those 100 seats are locked in, we are unfortunately tied by the webinar subscription service that only allow us to hold 100 seats. So jump over now so you don't avoid disappointment, and come back and type "I am in." I am in. You will be emailed immediately your receipt from PayPal, and then you'll be redirected to the members registration page once you've secured your seat. Okay, the $1 investment is about securing your seat. It is non-refundable. That's a question that's come up. It is non-refundable, and you're effectively securing your seat for next Thursday's webinar. Okay, so someone's asking what time is the webinar. So we'll be running a series of webinars on Thursday of next week. Okay, we'll be running a series of webinars just for you, so they will fit in with your time frame. So we'll be in Australian time, it'll be in the morning, so it fits in with America and UK in the evening, and we'll be running one in the evening Australian time, which will fit in not so well with the other side of the pond, but it'll fit in nicely with the Australians. So you get to choose the time on the Thursday when suits you. We'll have a number of different times, but as soon as you've secured your seat, you'll be able to check out when those times are available to you when you access the members area. Okay. So somebody's asking, what are they going to learn on week one, Joe? What are they going to learn on week one? What content are we thinking?
Okay, so yeah, absolutely. So week one is all about getting clear on the fifth strategy, which is your why. Okay, we've got some absolutely essential foundational principles that you need to understand and learn how to implement daily. Okay, we're going to look at your water intake. We look at sleep rhythms. Okay, lots of people have difficulty falling to sleep or getting to sleep or actually having a quality sleep whilst they're asleep. So we look at what it is that's going on in your choices and your environment as well, that we need to change in order to improve your sleep patterns. We also look at things like creating some core values. Week one, guys, is all about building the right mindset, okay? You have to have the right mindset in order to start creating the right thinking, the right choices, the right behavior. Okay, so week one is very much based on addressing all the excuses up until now that you've had and working through all the roadblocks, coming up with a contingency plan which I help you to write in order to address the self-sabotaging behaviors that up until now have stopped you from getting your results. Now, the best thing about this entire program is that you have me in the forum answering your questions as well as on these mega training sessions. Okay, so you have double opportunities to get all of your questions and comments addressed as you go through the program. This is live training support all the way through, holding your hand, okay? You know, it would be crazy not to take advantage of the 15 years of experience I've had in getting my health back on track, in being able to help hundreds of other people, thousands of other people over 15 years get their health and the health of their families back on track. And you have me available to you in a forum, you know, weekly, as well as the online live training processes or coaching calls. So week one is massive because you need the right mindset in order to make the changes. And that's what we focus on, Jamie, in week one.
Excellent. Fantastic. So that was a really good question. So, guys, ladies, I just want to emphasize, get over to Get Your New Life. Seats are filling up really fast. So I want to welcome Sarah. I want to welcome Jessica. I want to welcome Shane. I want to welcome Jane. Okay, I want to welcome another Jessica. I want to welcome... Okay, so, yeah, okay, people are typing I'm in now, so we're getting quite a lot of seats that are filling up. So this won't last. I want you to jump over right now and secure your seat and get instant access to the members area. It's really important you get over there because once those positions are filled, they are filled and they will go. Unfortunately, we are limited by the number of seats that we can secure on the live webinar. Okay, so jump over right now, ladies and gents. Jump over there now and start taking control of your health. Start taking control of your life. I can tell you from experience by listening to Jo and being on her live trainings that this is going to change your life. And you do not want to miss out on what she's teaching. And as we've alluded to it tonight, you're not going to learn this by going and taking up the latest fad diets. You're not going to learn this by, reading about the Atkins diet. You're not going to learn about it by learning, the latest thing that's being promoted on television, because the principles that Jo teaches is not big business. Okay, eating organic, healthy foods from the ground or from it doesn't keep an industry moving, and there's not big business behind it. So it's like that slide I was showing. It's the David and Goliath. You are going to change your lifestyle. You're going to change the way you do things, and you'll get instant access. You get to test everything out. So jump in now, and I want you to avoid that. I want you to avoid the pain of missing out, because I know that what I've been implementing in my life has changed my life, and I'm not the health expert. Okay, I'm learning from the health expert every week. And she's very good, by the way. She's a good cook. Okay, so we haven't. Okay, so another question about exercise. So, question about exercise. So the working in versus working out. How much exercise is involved in this program?
Okay, great question. So at the very beginning of the program, the only exercise that is involved is me taking you through what a walking meditation looks like, which is an example of a working in. It's not until you get to week 3 that you actually get your first lot of exercise videos to follow. So you get a properly written program for you to follow in week 3, which is accompanied by videos. So you're very clear, and all you need is a fit ball or a Swiss ball, which you can purchase from, a Kmart as an example, or online. And the exercises are designed to build you up your energy and qualify you ready for an actual workout, which then happens in week 4. You then get your video and your training program for an actual workout in week 4. So you're already seeing that, the program is very different to what you would find otherwise out there, because they are built on the principles that build health and vitality and longevity, not built on the principles that get quick, short-term results and satisfy, instant gratification, which is lost within a few weeks when you can't sustain the choices anymore. So, great question around that, around exercise there, Jamie.
Yeah,
I think I've
really
answered that.
Yeah, excellent. So, just to update everybody, we've probably got about 7 seats left. We've got 7 seats left. I want to welcome Michelle into the group. I want to welcome Jennifer into the group. I want to welcome Vanessa. Oh, we've got another Jo. We've got another Jo. I'm going to welcome Jo into the group. Okay. Questions come up. I really want to jump in, except how much is this going to cost in terms of, I think they're meaning diet. So how much in terms of change is this going to cost?
Okay, so is it going to cost financially or
I think financially. I think you meant financially.
In terms of commitment, financially. Okay, well, in week 2, you start to be given all of your meal plans. And I've designed the meal plans, so you have nothing that you need to do. And they are designed around moving you towards healthier whole food choices. And I coach and talk about that as we go. So if you're doing it properly and you're following the teachings and you're really implementing my guidance, then my past experience is that it is possible to save money on this kind of philosophy, okay? The money that people spend on pre-packaged and pre-prepared foods and processed foods is astronomical. And when I actually take my clients out shopping to a local supermarket and I tell them to go and get 3 days worth of food, and I do the same for me, and we meet back at the checkout and they go through cashed up and I've saved 20, 30 bucks on what I've purchased, and we then go through why that is, and they start to see all the incidentals that they've bought that basically is what I call a non-food, firstly, and secondly is money down the drain, because it's not providing you with any nutrition or sustenance that your body is needing to repair itself and rebuild itself. So I would be very surprised if you don't actually find that you are saving money on this, and part of what I coach you is to understand where you need to start going when you're ready to move away from buying in commercial supermarkets like Coles and Woolies, is how you can actually save money by going and supporting your local farmers in farmers markets and things like that. But there is a stepping stone to that. So it's a great question.
Really good question.
And yeah.
So you're going to save us money. Well, there you go. You just paid for your tuition, everybody. Jo has just become the financial organizer. She's not only good at health, she's good at financial management, fiscal management. She should take over the governments of the world, I reckon. That's awesome.
Oh, let's not get ahead of ourselves, Jamie.
That's all jokes aside, folks. We are practically full. I'll probably leave about 5 spots open for tomorrow, so people can still jump on, and we may do a recording of this webinar and send that out, just so those people who had some issues getting on. I noticed there was a couple of people who couldn't get on tonight, so that they get the recording of it. So I really want to welcome everybody. I can't mention everybody because my chat box is blown up with everybody joining the program, but I really want to welcome everybody. If you have any issues with accessing the members area, like registering, please send us a support ticket. Now that will be attached. You'll be able to get to the support via the registration page. So there'll be a link there for support. So if you have any questions, have any issues, but it's really simple. Once you've secured your seat, you'll be redirected to the registration page. You'll just fill it out with your username and password, and you are good to go. You can start reviewing the first week of content, folks. That's how exciting it is, and you get to see the wonderful Joanna. I call her Joanna because my sister's Joanna, and I always give her a hard time when I get angry with her. I go, Joanna. Sorry.
Now you're sounding like my mother.
So you get to see Jo in there, and the content that she gives you is superb, sublime. It's fantastic.
And they also get instant access to the Facebook VIP Facebook forum as well, don't they, Jamie?
That's the other one.
So they come across and
you get the private Facebook group, folks. That's the other bonus. You get access to our private Facebook group immediately, where you get to interact with all the other cool people that are on this journey with you. You also get to interact with the whole team that are part of this process. There's Susie and Jo, myself, my team, and everybody else who's supporting you on this journey. And really, we're here to support you in your health endeavours. That's the reality. That's why we're doing this. This is why we're saying, secure your seat, you see the value we're going to give you, and then make the decision. We're empowering you. We want to empower you to make a great decision. And once you start to experience that, I know there's no going back. You can't review what Joe has learnt and prepared over the last 10 years and not take action. You cannot, because it has such a dramatic impact for you, your family, and everybody else around you that you will come into contact with. So I'm truly grateful for everybody being part of this program. Joe, I'm going to, that's me signing out. I'm going to let you sign out because you just have a great way of saying goodbye to people. So I'm going to let you have the last word.
Look, Jamie, as far as I'm concerned, if you're an action taker, then you'll know that life is too short not to take action right now. And you can come across within the next 60 seconds into the Facebook private forum and start asking me questions. That's how quick we can get you on the right track. So have an awesome evening or morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and I look forward to being part of your health journey and getting you and helping and supporting you to get the results that you so richly deserve. So have a great night, everybody, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Great work. Good night, everybody. Good day, wherever you're coming to us from the world. Thank you, and goodbye.